Intimacy is a sacred connection that goes beyond the physical realm. It's about love, trust, and mutual respect. In relationships, the bond we share with our partners is one of the most important aspects of our well-being. However, it's not uncommon for men to feel disconnected during moments of intimacy, which can lead to frustration, misunderstanding, or a sense of emotional detachment. Today, let's explore 7 critical lessons on intimacy that can help us nurture our relationships and deepen our connections. Open communication is the cornerstone of any meaningful relationship, and this is especially true when it comes to intimacy. In intimate relationships, the ability to express your thoughts, feelings, desires, and boundaries without fear of judgment or rejection is crucial. Many issues in intimacy arise not from a lack of physical connection, but from a failure to communicate openly and honestly with one another. When both partners feel free to share their needs and vulnerabilities, they create an environment of trust, mutual understanding, and emotional safety. This lays the foundation for a deeper, more satisfying connection in all aspects of the relationship. At the heart of open communication is the willingness to be vulnerable with your partner. Vulnerability requires courage because it involves revealing aspects of yourself that may feel uncomfortable or exposed. Many people fear that by sharing their insecurities or desires, they might push their partner away or be judged. However, it is through this openness that a true connection is made. When we communicate our needs, we invite our partner to respond with care and empathy, rather than silence or defensiveness. This creates an atmosphere where both partners feel heard and understood, fostering a deeper sense of emotional intimacy. One of the key elements of open communication is active listening. Active listening means being fully present in the moment, focusing on what your partner is saying without interrupting, judging, or formulating a response before they finish. It is about truly hearing them and acknowledging their feelings. When partners actively listen to each other, they show respect and validation, which enhances the emotional bond between them. Listening with an open heart creates space for both people to express themselves freely, knowing they will be met with understanding, not criticism. In addition to verbal communication, nonverbal cues also play a significant role in intimacy. Body language, facial expressions, and physical touch can convey as much, if not more, than words. Sometimes we may struggle to express our feelings verbally, but a gentle touch or a warm embrace can communicate what words cannot. The key is to remain attuned to your partner's needs and be willing to respond accordingly. When both partners are mindful of each other's nonverbal signals, they strengthen their connection on a deeper, more intuitive level. However, open communication is not only about expressing desires and emotions during intimate moments, it is also about addressing concerns, setting boundaries, and discussing uncomfortable topics. Many relationships falter because partners avoid difficult conversations either out of fear or a desire to maintain harmony. Yet, avoiding important discussions only builds emotional distance and creates unmet needs. When partners are able to talk openly about their fears, insecurities, and frustrations, they create an opportunity for growth. Rather than letting misunderstandings fester, honest conversations allow both partners to come together, resolve issues, and move forward with greater understanding. One common area where communication can break down is in sexual intimacy. It's important to remember that each person has unique preferences and needs when it comes to sex. What one person enjoys may not be the same for their partner. Openly discussing these preferences without shame or embarrassment is vital for a fulfilling sexual relationship. Sometimes this requires being open about topics such as what feels good, what doesn't, and any discomfort or anxiety that may arise. Without this level of communication, one partner may feel disconnected or dissatisfied, while the other remains unaware of their needs. Through clear and respectful communication, both partners can align their desires, creating a more pleasurable and intimate experience. Moreover, effective communication requires patience and empathy. There will be times when feelings are raw, or when one partner feels misunderstood. In these moments, it is essential to approach the conversation with kindness and a willingness to understand the other person's perspective. Instead of becoming defensive or shutting down, try to remain open and curious about your partner's point of view. This helps to de-escalate tension and fosters an environment where both partners can freely express themselves without fear of being invalidated. Ultimately, open communication is the practice of creating a space where both partners feel safe to be their authentic selves. It is about honesty, vulnerability, and the willingness to grow together. When both partners are committed to communicating openly, they build a solid foundation of trust and emotional security that enhances not only their intimate connection but their overall relationship as well. Through open communication, you nurture the love and respect that lies at the heart of any healthy and thriving partnership. Emotional vulnerability plays a profound role in the depth and quality of our physical connections with others, especially in intimate relationships. It is often said that intimacy is not just about physical closeness, but emotional closeness as well. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable with our partners, we open the door to a deeper, more meaningful experience, one that transcends the physical act and taps into the emotional and spiritual layers of connection. Many people overlook the powerful impact that emotional vulnerability has on physical intimacy, but without it, even the most physically fulfilling moments can feel hollow or disconnected. At the core of emotional vulnerability is the willingness to expose parts of ourselves that are often hidden out of fear or insecurity. These could be our deepest desires, fears, or even past wounds. When we share these aspects of ourselves with a partner, we invite them into a more intimate space, one where true trust and love can flourish. It's about shedding the protective layers that we build over time and allowing ourselves to be seen for who we truly are, without pretense or masks. This vulnerability builds trust, and trust is the foundation of any meaningful relationship, especially one that involves physical intimacy. When both partners feel emotionally safe with each other, they can let go of their defenses and fully engage in the moment. This freedom from fear and inhibition allows for a more open and connected experience. For example, when someone feels emotionally vulnerable, they are more likely to communicate their needs and desires openly, whether it's during a quiet moment of affection or in the midst of physical intimacy. This exchange strengthens the bond between partners because it acknowledges the importance of not just physical touch, but emotional connection as well. The physical experience becomes more than just an act, it becomes a shared, deeply intimate exchange of energy, love, and understanding. Emotional vulnerability also helps us to be more attuned to our partner's needs. When we are open with our feelings, we create space for our partner to do the same. This mutual exchange deepens the emotional bond, which in turn enhances the physical connection. For instance, a partner who feels emotionally supported is more likely to express their desires, fears, and preferences openly. This level of communication brings about a richer understanding of each other's needs, both emotional and physical. As a result, the physical connection is not only more fulfilling, but also more attuned to what each partner craves, creating a more harmonious and satisfying experience. Another crucial element of emotional vulnerability is its ability to foster empathy. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we also give our partner the opportunity to see us as human, flawed, sensitive, and beautiful in our imperfection. This opens the door to greater empathy, where both partners feel understood, cared for, and supported. In turn, this empathy allows for a more compassionate approach to physical intimacy. When partners approach each other with empathy, they are more likely to be in tune with one another's emotional states, preferences, and boundaries. This makes for a more respectful and enjoyable experience where both people feel seen, valued, and loved. It is also important to recognize that emotional vulnerability does not only apply to moments of joy and connection, but also in times of discomfort or vulnerability. When we experience emotional challenges, whether it's stress, fear, or sadness, being able to share these feelings with our partner allows them to understand us more fully. Instead of retreating into emotional isolation, we invite our partner to support us through these difficult emotions. This act of sharing our emotional selves during challenging times can lead to an even greater sense of intimacy. It allows both people to connect not just in moments of pleasure, but in times of need, strengthening the emotional bond even further. Finally, emotional vulnerability in intimate relationships encourages personal growth. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we let go of the need for perfection. We learn to accept our flaws, insecurities, and fears as part of our humanity. This self-acceptance is powerful, not only in our personal lives, but also in the way we approach intimacy. When we stop pretending to be someone we are not and embrace our true selves, we create a space for growth and transformation, both individually and as a couple. This personal growth enhances physical intimacy, as it allows both partners to come together as whole, authentic individuals who are comfortable in their own skin. Emotional vulnerability enriches the physical experience because it opens the door to deeper emotional intimacy, trust, empathy, and personal growth. When both partners are emotionally available to each other, the connection is more profound, making the physical experience more fulfilling, meaningful, and satisfying. In the end, it is through emotional vulnerability that true intimacy is achieved, one that nourishes not only the body, but the heart and soul as well. In relationships, particularly when it comes to intimacy, many of us fall into the trap of believing that more is always better. The idea that physical connection should be frequent or lengthy is often perpetuated by societal norms, media portrayals, or even personal insecurities. However, the truth is that the quality of intimacy far outweighs its quantity. True fulfillment in intimate relationships does not come from how often we engage in physical connection, but from the depth, presence, and emotional connection we bring to those moments. It's about the intention and mindfulness behind the interaction rather than the sheer amount of time spent together. When we focus solely on quantity, we may find ourselves rushing through intimate moments or prioritizing the act over the experience. In this rush, we lose sight of the deeper emotional bond that intimacy is meant to nurture. Rather than being an opportunity for two people to truly connect, these moments become more of a checklist or expectation to meet, leading to a sense of emptiness and dissatisfaction. This can happen when either partner feels pressure to perform or is simply going through the motions without being fully engaged. The end result may be physical intimacy, but without the emotional connection and satisfaction that makes the experience truly meaningful. Quality, on the other hand, invites us to be fully present with our partner, both emotionally and physically. It encourages us to slow down and savor the experience, whether that's through tender touch, meaningful conversation, or simply being there for one another in a vulnerable, authentic way. When intimacy is rooted in quality, it becomes an opportunity to strengthen the bond between two people, deepening trust, love, and affection. It's not about rushing to the finish line, but about enjoying the journey together, allowing each moment to unfold naturally and with intention. This shift from quantity to quality also means taking the time to explore each other's needs and desires. When we focus on the quality of our connection, we are more likely to communicate openly with our partner about what feels good and what doesn't. We move away from the assumption that intimacy looks the same for everyone and embrace the idea that each individual has unique preferences. Rather than assuming that intimacy must follow a certain pattern or timeline, we open the door to a more personalized, fulfilling experience. This kind of communication ensures that both partners feel heard and respected, which makes the experience much more enjoyable for both individuals. Another important aspect of prioritizing quality over quantity is the emphasis on emotional connection. Physical intimacy becomes even more fulfilling when it is supported by emotional intimacy. When partners are deeply connected on an emotional level, the physical experience becomes an extension of that bond, magnifying the feelings of closeness, safety, and love. Without emotional connection, even the most frequent or intense physical moments can feel disconnected or unsatisfying. By focusing on building emotional intimacy through meaningful conversations, acts of kindness, and nurturing affection, the physical aspects of the relationship naturally deepen and become more fulfilling. Taking the time to nurture the emotional side of intimacy also means creating a safe and trusting environment where both partners feel comfortable expressing their feelings. In such an environment, intimacy is not just about meeting physical needs, but about nurturing the emotional and psychological well-being of both individuals. When partners feel safe to express themselves without judgment, the intimacy between them flourishes and physical connection becomes a beautiful expression of that emotional safety. Moreover, quality intimacy encourages us to be more in tune with our own needs and desires. It's easy to get lost in the rush of everyday life or the external pressures that society places on us, but when we focus on quality, we start to tune into what truly makes us feel loved, seen, and cared for. Instead of simply conforming to what is expected, we become more mindful of our own emotional and physical needs. This self-awareness allows us to communicate more effectively with our partner and fosters a relationship based on mutual respect and understanding. Lastly, quality intimacy provides a space for both partners to be present with each other. In a world where distractions are ever present, whether it's technology, work, or personal stress, it's easy to become physically present but emotionally absent. By focusing on quality, we intentionally carve out time and space to connect, free from distractions. This mindfulness enhances the physical experience and brings the partners closer together, making every moment feel more meaningful. In conclusion, intimacy is not defined by how often we engage in it, but by the emotional and physical depth we bring to those moments. When we prioritize quality over quantity, we create an environment where trust, emotional connection, and mutual respect can flourish. Rather than simply going through the motions, we allow ourselves and our partner to fully experience the beauty of intimacy, one that is deeply fulfilling and nourishing for both the body and soul. Self-love is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship, and this is especially true when it comes to intimacy. Before we can fully connect with another person, we must first learn to love and accept ourselves. The relationship we have with ourselves directly impacts the quality of the relationships we cultivate with others, particularly in moments of physical and emotional intimacy. When we are grounded in self-love, we bring our whole, authentic selves into our interactions, and this creates a foundation for deeper, more fulfilling connections. At its core, self-love is about accepting ourselves as we are, with all of our strengths, vulnerabilities, and imperfections. It's about recognizing our worth and treating ourselves with the same kindness, respect, and compassion that we would offer to a loved one. When we practice self-love, we begin to let go of the internal criticism or negative beliefs that may have held us back in the past. Instead of seeking validation from external sources or relying on others to define our worth, we come to understand that our value comes from within. This inner confidence and sense of security allow us to engage in intimate relationships from a place of strength rather than neediness or fear. When we have a solid foundation of self-love, we are able to show up fully in our relationships. Instead of looking to our partner to complete us or make us feel whole, we enter the relationship as individuals who are already whole and secure in ourselves. This dynamic fosters a healthier, more balanced connection, where both partners bring their full selves to the table. The connection between them becomes a beautiful merging of two whole beings, each able to support and nurture the other without relying on the other to fill an emotional void. Self-love also allows us to set healthy boundaries, which are crucial for any intimate relationship. When we love ourselves, we understand the importance of protecting our emotional and physical well-being. We are able to communicate our needs, desires, and limits with clarity and confidence. This helps to create a safe space where both partners feel respected and valued, which is essential for trust and intimacy to flourish. Without self-love, we may struggle with setting boundaries or may allow ourselves to tolerate behaviors that do not align with our values or needs. In contrast, when we are grounded in self-love, we naturally honor our own needs and in turn are better equipped to honor the needs of our partner. Self-love also means being kind to ourselves, especially in moments of vulnerability. Intimacy requires us to be open and vulnerable, and this can be challenging if we don't have a strong sense of self-worth. Vulnerability can feel risky, as it involves sharing parts of ourselves that we may have previously kept hidden. But when we have cultivated self-love, we are more likely to approach vulnerability with trust and confidence, knowing that we are worthy of love and affection just as we are. This openness creates a deep emotional connection, which naturally enhances the physical experience of intimacy. Furthermore, self-love encourages us to be mindful of our own needs and desires. Often we may be so focused on our partner's needs that we neglect our own, but self-love reminds us that our feelings, desires, and needs are just as important. By being attuned to what we need emotionally, physically, and mentally, we are better able to communicate those needs to our partner. This leads to a more balanced and harmonious relationship, where both partners feel seen and heard. The more we understand and honor ourselves, the more we can connect with our partner on a deeper level. Self-love also teaches us to be patient with ourselves and our partner. Relationships, especially intimate ones, require time, effort, and understanding. We all have our own insecurities, fears, and challenges, and self-love allows us to approach these moments with compassion rather than self-judgment or frustration. When we make mistakes or experience setbacks in intimacy, self-love helps us approach these situations with kindness, understanding, and a willingness to grow. This attitude of patience and grace fosters a deeper connection and creates a more resilient bond between partners. Lastly, self-love encourages us to take care of our bodies, minds, and souls. When we prioritize self-care, we show our partner that we value ourselves and our well-being. This can be seen in the way we care for our physical health, nurture our emotional needs, and cultivate a positive mindset. When we take the time to care for ourselves, we bring a sense of balance and fulfillment into the relationship, which enhances the emotional and physical aspects of intimacy. In conclusion, self-love is the foundation of great intimacy because it allows us to show up fully in our relationships, set healthy boundaries, communicate our needs, and embrace vulnerability. When we love ourselves, we are able to offer love to others in a more authentic, meaningful way. Self-love is not a selfish act, it is a necessary practice that creates a strong foundation for deeper, more fulfilling connections. By cultivating self-love, we invite more joy, trust, and intimacy into our lives and our relationships. In intimate relationships, one of the most common obstacles to true connection and fulfillment is the pressure to perform. This pressure can stem from societal expectations, personal insecurities, or even misconceptions about what intimacy should look like. Whether it's the need to meet certain physical standards, the desire to please a partner, or the fear of not living up to expectations, performance anxiety can hinder the natural flow of intimacy. The key to breaking free from this pressure is to let go of the idea that intimacy is a performance and instead embrace the beauty of authenticity, vulnerability, and connection. Performance pressure in intimacy often arises from the belief that there are specific rules or standards that must be followed in order to have a successful sexual or emotional experience. This could include concerns about physical appearance, stamina, sexual techniques, or even the emotional responses we think we are supposed to have. This mindset leads to a sense of competition and comparison, where we feel as though we must meet an idealized version of intimacy rather than simply enjoying the experience for what it is. When we approach intimacy with this performance mindset, we lose sight of what truly matters: the emotional connection and mutual respect that create a fulfilling and authentic relationship. The first step in letting go of performance pressure is to shift our focus from perfection to presence. True intimacy is about being fully present with our partner, attuned to their needs, desires, and emotions. It is about creating an environment where both partners feel comfortable being vulnerable without fear of judgment or inadequacy. When we release the need to perform, we give ourselves permission to simply be in the moment, allowing intimacy to unfold naturally. In these moments, there is no need to worry about how we look, how long we last, or whether we are doing it right. Instead, we can focus on the experience itself, the sensations, the emotions, and the connection that are being shared. One of the most liberating aspects of letting go of performance pressure is that it allows us to embrace our imperfections. We all have insecurities, and these are often magnified during intimate moments. But the truth is that these imperfections are what make us human. When we accept and love ourselves as we are, we stop worrying about meeting unrealistic standards. We allow ourselves to be authentic, and in turn, we invite our partner to do the same. This mutual acceptance fosters a sense of trust and safety, where both partners can be their true selves without fear of criticism or rejection. Another important aspect of letting go of performance pressure is understanding that intimacy is not about achieving a specific outcome, such as orgasm or reaching a particular milestone. Instead, intimacy is about connecting with another person on a deep emotional and physical level. When we focus too much on the goal or end result, we miss out on the true joy of the journey. Intimacy is not a race, it's a shared experience that is meant to be enjoyed, savored, and explored together. By letting go of the pressure to perform, we can create space for spontaneity, curiosity, and genuine pleasure, rather than forcing ourselves or our partner to conform to a specific script. Letting go of performance pressure also means embracing vulnerability. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful forms of strength we can offer in an intimate relationship. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we are opening up to our partner, sharing our fears, desires, and insecurities. This creates a deeper sense of connection and trust, which is the foundation of any lasting relationship. Vulnerability also allows us to be more attuned to our partner's needs and emotions. Instead of being preoccupied with how we are performing, we become more present and responsive to the person we are with, enhancing the overall experience for both individuals. It's also important to recognize that intimacy is a dynamic, evolving experience. Just as relationships grow and change over time, so too do our needs and desires in intimacy. Letting go of performance pressure means allowing for growth, change, and experimentation without the fear of failure. It's about embracing the fluid nature of intimacy and being open to new ways of connecting with your partner. This flexibility creates space for deeper exploration and more fulfilling experiences, where both partners feel free to express themselves without the weight of expectations. Ultimately, letting go of performance pressure transforms intimacy from a transactional or goal-oriented experience into a meaningful, connected journey. When we stop measuring our worth based on performance, we open ourselves up to a deeper level of emotional and physical connection. We create a space where vulnerability, authenticity, and mutual respect can flourish. In this space, intimacy is no longer about meeting standards or achieving specific outcomes. It becomes about the shared experience of being present with one another, exploring each other's hearts, minds, and bodies without the burden of comparison or expectation. This shift allows us to experience intimacy in its purest form, a beautiful, enriching connection that nourishes both the body and the soul. Physical touch is often seen through the narrow lens of sex, but its true power extends far beyond that. Touch is a fundamental human need that goes beyond physical pleasure, is a vital part of emotional connection, communication, and intimacy in all forms of relationships. From a simple hug to a reassuring hand on the shoulder, the act of touching can convey love, support, empathy, and security. The significance of physical touch is deeply rooted in our biology and psychology, making it an essential component of well-being that enhances all types of relationships, not just romantic ones. One of the most powerful aspects of physical touch is its ability to communicate without words. Often we find ourselves in situations where words are insufficient or unable to express the depth of our feelings. In these moments, a simple touch can convey a sense of comfort, understanding, or reassurance. A hug can say, "I'm here for you," without needing to speak. A gentle caress can offer support when someone is feeling vulnerable. In this way, touch serves as a silent language that speaks directly to the heart, providing a sense of connection that words cannot always capture. The impact of physical touch on emotional well-being cannot be overstated. Research has shown that physical touch, such as hugging, holding hands, or even a light touch on the arm, can lower levels of stress and anxiety, reduce feelings of loneliness, and even boost mood. This is because touch stimulates the release of oxytocin. Often referred to as the bonding hormone or love hormone, oxytocin plays a crucial role in promoting feelings of attachment and trust, which are essential for building strong, healthy relationships. When we experience positive touch, we feel more secure and connected to others, which enhances our sense of belonging and overall emotional health. Physical touch is also a means of nurturing and expressing affection. In intimate relationships, touch deepens the bond between partners by fostering a sense of closeness and emotional safety. While sex is one form of physical touch, there are countless other ways to express affection that don't involve sexual activity. Holding hands, cuddling, kissing, or simply sitting close to one another can communicate love, care, and affection without the pressure of sexual performance. These non-sexual forms of touch are crucial for creating a secure emotional foundation in a relationship, allowing both partners to feel valued and cherished. In friendships and familial relationships, physical touch plays a similarly important role. A reassuring pat on the back, a warm hug, or even a high five can reinforce feelings of support and connection. These small gestures, though often overlooked, help to strengthen bonds and convey affection. In fact, research has shown that people who experience regular positive touch, such as from friends, family, or loved ones, are more likely to have higher levels of happiness and lower levels of stress. In this way, physical touch acts as a bridge between individuals, creating a sense of shared experience and mutual care. Beyond its emotional benefits, physical touch also has important physiological effects. When we touch others in a caring and compassionate way, our bodies respond by releasing a variety of positive chemicals that promote health and well-being. For example, oxytocin, released during moments of touch, has been shown to reduce blood pressure, lower cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and even enhance immune function. In essence, physical touch contributes to our physical health by promoting relaxation and reducing stress, which has a direct impact on our overall well-being. It's important to note that not all physical touch is created equal. The quality and intention behind the touch matter greatly. Touch that is genuine, empathetic, and respectful fosters connection, while touch that is aggressive, unwanted, or insincere can have the opposite effect, leading to discomfort or even harm. Consent is key in all forms of touch, whether in a romantic, platonic, or familial context. It is essential to create an environment in which both parties feel safe and respected, where touch is an expression of care rather than obligation or coercion. In intimate relationships, physical touch can also help to maintain and deepen emotional connection over time. As relationships mature, it's easy for physical affection to wane, especially if there is an overemphasis on sexual intimacy or external pressures. However, regular, non-sexual touch can help partners remain emotionally connected, even during times of stress or distance. Small gestures like holding hands while watching a movie, cuddling in bed, or simply sitting together in silence can reaffirm the bond and keep the relationship strong, regardless of external circumstances. In conclusion, physical touch is far more than just sex. It is a powerful tool for emotional connection, communication, and well-being. Whether in romantic relationships, friendships, or family dynamics, touch is an essential part of what makes us human. It nurtures our emotional and physical health, fosters connection, and strengthens relationships. By embracing the full spectrum of physical touch beyond just sexual intimacy, we open ourselves up to a deeper, more meaningful experience of love and connection with others. Mutual respect and boundaries are the cornerstones of any healthy, thriving relationship, whether romantic, familial, or platonic. They create a foundation of trust, understanding, and emotional safety, allowing each person involved to feel valued and secure. When mutual respect is present, relationships become a source of support and nurturing rather than stress or discomfort. Boundaries, on the other hand, are the guidelines that define how we engage with others, ensuring that our emotional, mental, and physical needs are met while honoring the needs of those around us. Together, respect and boundaries form the sacred framework that enables relationships to flourish in a healthy, balanced way. At the core of mutual respect is the recognition that each individual is worthy of being treated with dignity and consideration. Respect involves acknowledging the autonomy of others, understanding their feelings, needs, and perspectives, and responding with kindness and fairness. It means valuing the other person's thoughts, beliefs, and emotions without judgment or dismissal. When respect is mutual, both parties feel heard, seen, and appreciated, which strengthens the bond between them. In contrast, when respect is absent, resentment, misunderstanding, and conflict can arise, ultimately eroding the connection between people. Mutual respect is not just about being polite or courteous, it is about deeply valuing each other as individuals, appreciating their uniqueness, and treating them with the care and attention they deserve. Boundaries, while closely related to respect, serve as the practical framework for maintaining a healthy dynamic within any relationship. Boundaries are personal limits, physical, emotional, or mental, that define how we want to be treated and what we are comfortable with. These boundaries are deeply individual and can vary from person to person. They reflect our values, needs, and preferences, and are an essential part of self-care. Boundaries are not about pushing people away or creating barriers, but about ensuring that our relationships are respectful and that our needs are met in a healthy way. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love and self-respect. It requires us to recognize our own worth and understand that we deserve to have our emotional, physical, and mental space honored. When we set clear boundaries, we communicate to others what is acceptable and what is not, creating a sense of safety and clarity. Healthy boundaries protect us from emotional burnout, manipulation, and harm, while also allowing us to engage in relationships that are mutually fulfilling. Without boundaries, we risk overextending ourselves, tolerating behavior that feels uncomfortable, or losing our sense of self in the process of trying to please others. Equally important is the ability to respect the boundaries of others. Just as we set our own limits, we must also honor the limits set by those around us. This means listening when someone expresses their needs, respecting their emotional and physical space, and being mindful of their comfort levels. When we disregard or violate someone's boundaries, we undermine their sense of safety and trust. In healthy relationships, both parties understand that their boundaries are sacred and take the time to communicate and respect them, ensuring that neither person feels overwhelmed or disrespected. Mutual respect and boundaries also play a critical role in conflict resolution. In any relationship, disagreements and misunderstandings are inevitable. However, how we navigate these moments speaks volumes about the strength and health of the relationship. When mutual respect is present, even during conflict, both individuals approach the situation with empathy, willingness to listen, and a desire to understand each other's point of view. Respectful communication during disagreements ensures that both people feel heard and valued, rather than dismissed or belittled. Additionally, boundaries are vital in conflict resolution because they help prevent escalation. By knowing when to step back or take a break from a heated situation, we can create the space needed to cool off and approach the issue with a clear mind. Respect and boundaries also foster a sense of equality within relationships. In healthy relationships, power dynamics are balanced, with both individuals feeling they have an equal say and equal value. Mutual respect ensures that one person's voice is not louder or more important than the other's. Boundaries contribute to this equality by preventing one person from overstepping or dominating the other. Each person is free to express themselves, set their own limits, and have those limits respected without fear of retribution or guilt. Moreover, respecting boundaries and practicing mutual respect creates a sense of emotional security. When we know that our needs will be honored and that we are valued for who we are, we feel safe to be vulnerable and open. This emotional security strengthens the bond between individuals, allowing for deeper intimacy, trust, and connection. On the other hand, when boundaries are ignored or violated, emotional safety is compromised, leading to feelings of insecurity, distrust, and emotional harm. In conclusion, mutual respect and boundaries are sacred because they create the framework for healthy, balanced, and nurturing relationships. When both individuals honor each other's boundaries and treat one another with respect, they build a foundation of trust, understanding, and emotional safety. Respect ensures that both people feel valued and heard, while boundaries ensure that each person's needs are met without overstepping or causing harm. Together, they provide the space for relationships to grow, deepen, and flourish. By embracing these principles, we not only protect our own well-being, but also contribute to the well-being of those around us, creating relationships that are meaningful, fulfilling, and grounded in love.